I am a living peril to the universe. If this poor hive is to be cleansed, there's only one recourse. Contemplation. Self-abnegation in some hellish wilderness.
I don't think I've ever heard of anyone in history thinking that they can solve all of their spiritual problems by going to New Jersey.
10 days, 10 years, 1,000 years. What consequence is time to me? I shall become a hermit, and you, child, shall be my disciple.
For Christ's sakes, you've realized you just tried to murder a young woman, and it's still about you! But he's made up his mind and heads to Titan 3, which is a pity because if he went anywhere else, the story wouldn't have to connect up with the twins. Romulus, or Remus, who the hell cares, they're as indistinguishable as two rolls of toilet paper and about as interesting to watch, send out a signal to alert the police space fighter to their ship, but that doesn't work out so well. The bad guys arrive on Titan 3 in time for Mestor to give Edgeworth, that's the old guy, another telepathic conference call to chide him because Mestor had to go and blow up those 5 space fighters. Off screen, of course, because we have a budget to think about. Now he wants to get him to work on the twins.
Nonsense. Take care not to blow their hearts or minds.
Got it. No Pink Floyd. Yes, Derpy here is the one in charge. He's a humanoid slug. That's why he's got those eye stalks up there, and not eyes on his face. Except, of course, for the eyes on his face, because he's an incredibly crap costume. Meanwhile, the TARDIS has arrived on Titan 3.
Craggy knob, which swims upon the oceans of the firmament. Receive this weary penitent.
Cut it! Would you show a little emotion?
What we need is a cave, some utterly comfortless place, where you and I can suffer together.
Why should I be made to suffer?
I've been asking myself the same question. Hey, I think a sorry for trying to murder Perry might be in order at some point, Doctor, instead of apology via making her more miserable.
I must atone for what I have done.
Bouquet of flowers, a vacation, I was going to say shoulder massage, but I just realized that'd be a terrible idea. He drags Perry outside to look at the wreckage of the space cops, but she insists the wreckage is so bad nobody could have survived that. But, oh look, a survivor.
So, no one could have lived through it, eh? Well, here's one who did.
Did I mention incredibly petty?
You would have left one of your own kind to die.
Well, there it is in case you missed it.
Will he live?
Yes. Small thanks to you.
You are just never going to let that go, are you? And is that why you brought him here? Because you're not treating him right now. Of all the reasons to move an injured man so I can rub it in someone's stupid face is usually not a sound medical reason. After yet another one of these, Perry finally calls him out on this massive clusterfuck of a personality that he has. And yeah, he completely has it coming. I mean, this is such a superhuman display of dickery, I can only conclude he was bitten by a radioactive asshole. As we head into part 2, let's talk about the title sequence for the moment. When J&T first took over the show, he wanted new everything, and that included a new title sequence, so Tom Baker in the Starfield was used. But since he left after 1 year, they needed one without his head floating in it, so they redid it with Peter Davison's head. Fine. Then they got to Colin Baker. Well, what are we supposed to do now? Just put his head up there? Nah, that's not different enough. I know! What if we make it look like a Care Bear ejaculated all over the print? Yep, in addition to give Colin Baker his garish clothes, they made the Starfield hard to see behind the spinning colored diamonds that make it all look like you're looking at old school 3D without the glasses.
Yourself
All right, back to the episode. The cliffhanger ended with Hugo coming around. Yeah, shoot him and let Sylvester McCoy sort this out. He passes out, though, and the Doctor then proves to be the most unself-aware individual in the history of television.
Well, he didn't know what he was doing. I mean, think what he must have suffered to act like that.
Quite beside the point. For all you seem to care, I could be lying dead at your feet this very moment.
You tried to murder someone and have yet to even apologize? And it's the person you're talking to! The Doctor refuses to treat the dying man for this faux pas, but with enough prodding from Perry, he disarms the gun and agrees that perhaps the Doctor should, I don't know, help make people better? Meanwhile, Edgeworth is doing the most unspeakable thing possible. Yes, he engages the twins in dialogue, so we have to listen to them again. He explains a little about the planet Jaconda and Mestor, its new master.
Its new master. This new master is a creature of infinite ambition.
Oh, like David Cameron. Meanwhile, the Doctor congratulates himself for saving Hugo, although finally, for the first time in this story, we start to see him in at least a tolerable state. He may be slightly overbearing, but compared to what he's been over the past half hour, it's an infinite improvement. In his long spiel about sensing a threat to the universe, we can assume that he is sensing Mestor's influence, and it compels him to investigate this matter further. He deduces from the babbling of Hugo that aliens abducted children and brought them here.
That's absurd.
It's nothing of the kind.
Perry and the Doctor are reenacting the conversation between Sayward and Stephen over the script. Well, despite the radiation level, they're going to go out and look for the missing children. But as the Doctor said, this is a reconnaissance mission. Stealth is our watchword.
As through an alpine village passed a youth who bore mid snow and ice a banner with a strange device, Excelsior!
Then again, how stealthy can you be when you're dressed like unicorn vomit?
I was only trying to cheer you up, one of your primitive American verse makers. Longfellow, wasn't it?
Ha! Shows what you know. That was Stan Lee. They find a way inside. Time to rescue the children. I guess.
I'm scared, Romulus. That awful creature. I've never been so frightened in my life.
I almost showed an expression. This is amazing. You have the Doctor dialing his performance up to 11, and the title character is barely capable of speaking their lines. It's like Colin Baker's over-the-top performance is sucking all the energy in from these two. Speaking of which, now that they've entered, his crazy bravado becomes overwhelming cowardice, and he wants to run away. I should add that I don't mind this stuff, by the way. The Doctor being erratic after regeneration is just something that comes with the territory. It's the whole endless hostility, bottomless pettiness, and gloating, and the attempted murder that has been the poison of the A-plot. B-plot's poison is that it's dull, idiotic, and full of terrible performances, so all you get to do is notice how bad the props are. I particularly like the computer that's covered with tinfoil there. I mean, it's Who, it's expected, but usually the show is good enough to accept the paper moon over the cardboard sea. With this, even ILM would probably look cheap and shoddy. Before they get away, the bird guys catch him and the Doctor cowers behind Perry. On the DVD commentary, Baker and Bryant told an interesting story about the rehearsal of this scene. When Baker was down there on his hands and knees, for some idiot reason, he decided to bite Nicola Bryant on the butt. Well, she wasn't happy about that, but he was the star, so she ignored it. Well, unable to resist being an even bigger dick, Baker then offered the actor who played Hugo £5 to bite Bryant on the butt. He was a guest star, though, so when he did that, she punched him right in the frickin' face. She had to ask Baker out to lunch to ask him to please stop making her miserable. And apparently it worked out because they say that they're great friends now. No doubt helped because her ass tastes like candy. So the sniveling Doctor and his companion are dragged before Edgeworth. But after the Doctor finally offers an apology, this time for the whole cowardly blaming her for everything stuff, he recognizes Edgeworth as his old tutor, Asmiel. But the latter doesn't recognize him at all. So the Doctor tells Asmiel, "You can tell who I really am, just feel these man boobs." But alas, Asmiel is in a position where, as leader of the Gioconda, oh yeah, did I mention he went from being a tutor to leader of a planet? And they say you can't do anything with an education degree. He was their leader until Mestor took over, and this is the only way to help his people now. So he's going to have to leave the Doctor and Perry locked up inside this place. Alas, the lock has 10 million combinations, and it still can't keep the NSA out. Well, with the transmat randomized and the door locked, it looks like they're trapped.
A few days at most.
Did you hear what he said? 10 million combinations.
Well, that's what I mean. It may take even me a few days.
Wow, that means you can enter 39 million different combinations every second. I didn't know being intelligent meant you could will yourself to enter the Matrix. But I'm guessing that Zaphod Beeblebrox had just flown by, because not only is the Doctor confident that he'll crack this combination like this, but back on the TARDIS, Hugo has woken up, failed to find the power pack for the gun that had been hidden. So he decides to change his dirty shirt into this thing, because this is the story where fashion has been thrown into the woods and hunted for sport. Well, now that he's dressed like a cross between a bullfighter and a weather balloon, Hugo reaches into the pocket of the shirt that he has selected at random to wear, and finds the power pack to his gun. Yep. This makes every time the Doctor stumbles across a doppelganger seem like an expected inevitability. You know, you could have just hidden the gun and give him a homing device in his tool belt or something, and then have him track it down that way. But hey, why do that when you could show you just don't give a shit? Back inside, Perry discovers one of the bird henchmen has set the self-destruct, so she goes to alert the doctor. Oh, and in case you were thinking, well, maybe the doctor's programming the computer to try all the combinations at breakneck speed, which, let me remind you again, is 39 million every second.
Doctor, quickly.
Michael, you don't interrupt the sequence.
Yeah, he's doing it manually. Wow, with fingers that nimble, it's a wonder Romana ever left the TARDIS. He confirms it's the self-destruct. Now, lest you judge from this that the Sixth Doctor was terrible, what we get is another brief bit of him doing what he's best at as a character. With his boisterousness comes a natural ability to take charge of a situation. His confidence makes others believe as much as he does that he knows what he's doing. Well, actually, maybe not that much, but then I'm not sure anyone could believe in the Sixth Doctor as much as he himself does. One of the reasons the twin dilemma is so awful is that there are so few of these moments. It's true, as many have said, that the other Doctors have their flaws too. 4 could be pushy, 3 could be condescending, 1 could be snappish. But the things about them all was that these were minor character flaws against otherwise charming individuals. What the twin dilemma gives us was the exact opposite, a man composed of flaws with minor character virtues. The problem with the script is that it, much like a lot of Baker's performance, is completely devoid of subtlety. Anyway, to escape, the Doctor has taken a device whose purpose is to refresh you by breaking you down and putting you back together again, and naturally turn it into a device that will move you in time and space because science. A lot of people mistakenly think the Doctor is actually using the transmat, but this is a forgivable mistake because assuming that the Doctor is fixing a thing to do what it's designed to makes a hell of a lot more sense than pulling a feat of engineering in 1 minute that's the equivalent of turning an MRI machine into the space shuttle. Well, things go wrong because it seems, in the midst of being captured and fatally poisoned in Caves of Androzani, having to deal with a raving, violent madman dressed like a Scottish condom, Perry forgot to wind her watch. That bitch. You can be sure the Doctor will rub that one in. He arrives in the wrong time zone, so Perry assumes that he's blown up, but he's able to sort that all out thanks to the TARDIS. He's surprised at Perry's joy at his survival.
You know, I'll never understand the people of Earth. I have spent the day using, abusing, even trying to kill you. If you behave as I have, I should have been pleased at your demise.
You know, even when admitting you're being a dick, you manage to sound like a dick.